All right, we are live. Let me get this tweeted out here real quick. 1 second. Da, 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 da. All right, awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, good. Well, I hope everybody had a blessed weekend, and here we go into another trading week. So, looking forward to it. It's the last full week of September. So, before we get started, real quick, just want to make sure everybody takes a moment to review this disclaimer here. Everything we're going to talk about today is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So, let's take a look and see where we're at right now. So, this is. Da, 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 da. This is where we're at. So far the monthly chart on the SPX and the S&P cash, the stock market is green, right? So we had a minus 14 day on. Interestingly enough, we were down 1472, right? And just a little bit ago, the futures were up 1475. So it was like almost just kind of net out, right? So but we could see, the month is still green, right? So that kind of gives sort of a bullish overtone, right? And even though we were down, on the week, right? So this is the week last week. So we came down, pretty heavy at the on Friday, right? So this is what happened on Friday. So we had pretty much summary of the week. Right, we gapped down on some Saudi news, started to work our way up, but obviously got choppy, right? And then we had the Fed, right? So Fed day started to almost mimic what it did back here, right? We had a green day followed by a narrow range inside day and then a flush. Or then we had this time around we had a green day, a narrow range inside day, and then we had a minor pivot, and then we kind of came back up a little. So it was a little bit different, right? So it started to flush on Fed day. Fed day came a little bit after that trend line this time around, and it seemed to hold, right? So they pushed up, try to knock out these highs here, but since then we had upper shadow, upper shadow, upper shadow, and then they flushed down on Friday, which was a quad witching day, right? So what that means is there was basically four different expirations, right? There was quarterly option expirations, the weekly expirations, futures expirations, individual expirations, things like that. So that all kind of comes together, right, on quad witching day. So it was a wild day, with a lot of volatility. So when you look at the individual names, right, we're going to see like just real quick, for instance, like Nvidia, we're going to see increased volume, right, on these days because there's all these expirations that were happening that day. So a lot of stuff going on with option exercising, things like that on that day. So we saw a pretty wild day. So let's kind of look and see what happened, right? The hourly chart, we could see obviously came down at the end of the day, right? Daily chart just real quick, right? Here's the geometric levels, right? We're at the top of the channel, right? We're approaching the top of the channel, but we're still holding this zone right here. There's a couple of big gaps below, so we'll see if those get held, right? We can see sort of the the stochastic, right? It's kind of crossing over here to the downsides. You never know, might push down there, but we'll see. We'll see what we have in store for tomorrow. 15-minute chart, right? We could see, right? We had before the big flush down, we did have an inside bar before that, which kind of pushed down. These are the levels, right? So these are the levels that we look at as we for our subscribers, right? These are the levels that we tweet out, basically every market evening, and to make sure that everybody has these, for the next day. You can see how important they are, right? So on Friday, right, we gapped up and we pushed really hard, right, into the open, right, cleared a few levels. There's some other levels up here, couldn't quite get up there, right? We saw like topping tail, topping tail, topping tail, right, upper shadow, upper shadow, upper shadow, upper shadow, upper shadow, right? So starting to get weak right here. So it came back down, gave a confirming bar down through these levels, right, chopped around between the short-term volumetric high and all these other levels, and then kind of tested this level, came back up, tested here again, back down, test up here, and then down, right? So notice, right, how small these candles got too before here, right? These are kind of like, just kind of signs when you see these things start to get small. Like here they got small and then we went up. Here they got small and then we went down, right? So these are just some price action clues that we can look at when we're trading and be like, hey, maybe there's kind of a reversal coming, that type of thing. So really, really significant stuff. So we'll see, what type of continuation what happens tomorrow. I mean, the futures are up right now, so we'll see what kind of continuation that gets into the morning. So good stuff. All right. So that being said, right, so let's take a look and kind of see what we have going on for today. So today I want to talk about just once again, here's the disclaimer we mentioned earlier. So this week we're going to talk a little bit about street smarts. Okay, so it was a book written quite a while ago. I've got the link in the description, right? So key authors, right, all mentioned, of course. And they came up with a bunch of different ideas, right? So, like Connors and Rasky and all that came up with a lot of great ideas. basically just put them down in a book. I mean, they're kind of key, stuff that we look at all the time, and sometimes we take for granted. So I just like how they define these, and there's just something to look at, right? Something to think about. So when you see these, it's like, oh, okay, that's right. Like we look at reclaiming ranges all the time, right? We trade price action, right, up, and down through the ranges on various time frames, right? So today we're going to talk about one of their more famous setups called Turtle Soup. Okay, and so we're going to kind of look at that here. So the definition of turtle soup is a stock puts in a new 20-day low. Okay, so let's take a look and see if we can find any examples of that, and I'm sure we can, right? So because a lot of things have been kind of pushed down. So one great example, right, is going to be Netflix, right, and Roku and Shop, right? So Netflix is a great example. It gave a few of these recently. Let me clear this out a little bit here. Okay, let me actually remove these Bollinger Bands. Okay, that's a little bit cleaner. Okay, so the idea is that we want to see one that has had a recent 20-day low, right? And so here, for instance, we obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And then here 10 days later we have a recent low, and then the idea is that when you have this new 20-day low, is that you wait for the next time you see a new 20-day low and see if it's within 4 days of that previous 20-day low. Okay, so so one example, let's see if I can see this here anywhere. Oh, actually Roku had a good example the other day. Let me show you real quick what this is. Next step. Okay, so the previous 20-day low is within 4 days. So that's the next thing. Pretty sure I looked at this with this worked with Roku the other day. Yeah. Yep, perfect. So Roku's good. Let me just clear this out a little bit too. We talked about this bear flag the other day. Okay, good. So clearly, we had a 20-day low here, right? Because you can go back 20 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here, right? So this is within 20 days, the 20-day low, right? Okay, so that defines, right, that new 20-day low. Now within 4 days, and they say the sooner the better, right? We had a 20-day low here, right, on 9/19. Okay, so as a fresh 20-day low, right? Because this was the prior 20-day low, we hit a 20-day low here. And so what the game is, right? The game plan is that just look to reclaim the range. The prior, you set what they say is set in a stop entry, right? Like an entry to automatically enter once you cross a few ticks, like 4 or 5 ticks above the low. So with that, it's a little more complicated with options, right? But but it's something that we can still, essentially try to mimic, right? So the idea there is just once we start to reclaim that range, is to go long, right, and then keep a stop at the low of the day. Okay, and you can see that would have been very effective here. Well, let's take a look and see exactly how effective that was. Let's go to the 15-minute chart and just take a look. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to C5 here, and I'm going to put this low here at 127.79. Okay. 127.79. Okay, and then I'll just call that, if I can do that, prior 20-day low, less than 4 days ago. Okay, so that was here. Okay, good. All right, so let's take a look. Now let's go to the short-term time frame and just kind of see where that happened. Where's our 15? There we go. This was a while ago, right? Let's go here. C5. Okay, there it is. Okay, so we can see on this day, it was very, very fast, right, at the open, right? So we had that prior 20-day low, which was here, right? We started to gap down, right? We can see there was a lot of energy happening here pre-market as well, right? So there's really 2 levels, right? One of the things we like to look at in our group is called the pre-market box. Right, so we put a box around the high and the low of the pre-market, and that really gives us some momentum points, right? So we had a key momentum point right here, right at the open, right? So very, very strong move, right? So if we go here, if we actually make this a 2-day, we can even look at the 5-minute chart here. Just kind of zoom in. We can see exactly what happened, right? So we opened really, really quickly here, right? And right, and pushed through it. So came down really, really quickly and then came back in that range. It was beautiful, right? It defined a perfect stop, right? The range of here, right, was only 127.79 to the low of the day, which is 127, right? So only a 79-cent stop on Roku at that point, right? And then it gave a huge thrust up there right at the open. So very, very fast stuff, like ninja type style, right? But again, then you had the extra momentum moves that broke out through the pre-market box here, and they gave a big move up. Then you can see what happened is, right, it came back in, right, tested the pre-market high levels, right, the top of the pre-market box, right, held it 1, 2, 3 bars, then gave a double inside 5 there, and then launched even higher, all the way up to 134. So a 5-point move there, and that was in a downtrend, right? And we talked about this too recently, right? We talked about this as a finding a reversal, right? So we talked about it here too when we put our indicators on last week, right? So I mean, just really, really amazing stuff. So very, very powerful, right? Very, very powerful setup, and you'll start to see this a lot more. And the reason why I brought up Netflix originally is because we keep on setting when these things are in downtrends, right? We look for these setups, right? So now what we can see is here. So we'll see tomorrow if we happen to gap down. Obviously, futures are really strong right now. If Netflix happens to gap down even more, right, it could give an opportunity for a turtle soup setup, right? If we gap down, then what we would do is we'd enter at the low of the day at 266. So let's stop at the low of the day. There is the idea, right? And then just maximize profits, right? Trail bar by bar as necessary, right? So really, really good stuff. So that is a cool tool. And just to review, let's just take a look real quick here. So again, originally, so a stock puts in a new 20-day low, right? And then the previous 20-day low has to be within 4 days, and the closer the better. So that's why Roku is great, because that 20-day low is the day before, right? And then we look to go along when price pushes above that prior 20-day low. So if it were 3 days before, you just have to have that marked, right? So and alerted, so you knew it was happening, or just have that stop there, the stop entry, so you can enter when it goes along, right? That's the idea. And then keep the stop just below the low of the day, and that's it. And the reverse is done for shorting as well. So that is the introduction to some of the Street Smart methodologies. And so hopefully you guys found that helpful. So at this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can. Try to wrap up before 10:30 so we can get a good night's sleep to get this new week started, right? So good stuff. And again, appreciate everybody for tuning in. All right, let's check it out. So, 1 second. All right. So, good evening. Hey, Gregorio. How's it going? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to Shirley tweeted a few stocks, emailed me a few stocks out earlier, so I'm just going to jump and start with those real quick. So let's take a look at IBN. Okay, IBN. Shirley, just be careful with this one, right? This is one of those ADRs, right? So it's going to gap all over the place. So don't let it, kind of freak you out or anything. But yeah, big gap up the other day here. So this is strong. Surely the only thing I don't like about it is a doji and it closed in the cloud. It had big volume. If it closed green, right, with a big green bar, I would say, yeah, let's look maybe at that a little bit closer. But I'd be really, really careful with this because this thing's, gaps all over the place. BMY. Yeah, all the biopharma stuff had just a very, very bullish day. We looked at this recently when it was up here, but now it's got these new highs. So I mean, the trend is obviously still up. We could kind of keep an eye on it too. If this decides to reverse when the rest of the market goes up, it's something we can keep an eye on and see if it gives us a minor pivot there. So it's starting to kind of work on this little bump and run type pattern. Docu. Always interesting to watch, right? So this thing is very, very good. This is on our watch list for sure. It started to try to break down here recently, right, and failed, came back up. So now it's gave a minor pivot on Friday, right? So let's see if that breaks down at all to maybe possibly test those levels. Otherwise, bullish until proven otherwise. TTM. Again, yeah, Tata. So just be careful with these. These ADRs. So 17 low here. Okay, so I do like the closer of this level. The only thing I don't like is the cloud right here. So just be careful with that, okay? And then ALGN. Yeah, so this has been on our radar. Very, very interesting, right? So this is biotype stuff. I love how it was. It just got crushed recently, and it closed bullishly over all these pivots here. This is kind of on my watch right now. I just want to see how much it could get into this cloud. But if you want to trade it, it could work its way up there to that 200 level. So just keep that in mind. And then lastly, Quart. Okay, again, more of these biopharma type stuff. Having a big move on Friday, which is interesting, right? It's always nice to see like something green when the market is kind of going all red, right? Just be careful there too with a potential bump and run. But it looks like it did get over a prior level here, so just keep that in mind. Good, good. Wendy, good morning. How are you? Yeah, that's awesome. Good. I appreciate it. I look forward to it too. Gregorio, thanks for tuning in. Net Fry. Hey man, how's it going? Facebook. Let's take a look. Yeah, so Facebook, right? Tweeted this out a little bit earlier. It's holding trend, right? You got to give it credit for that, right? It's not the prettiest trend in the world. I mean, macro wise, we go back up here to 208, down. Right, here's this. So, I mean, it is slowly working its way. What I really would have liked to have seen is a green close over this level right here to give more of a kind of a cloud burst type thing. But it put in that big upper shadow, which is going to be tough to get above too. But it is still holding this fresh trend. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. Harvey, what's going on, BA? Let's take a look. Hope you had a great weekend, man. Let's take a look at BA. So BA is getting very, very interesting. So if we kind of zoom in here, we saw a bull flag here that started to break out a few days ago. And so that was great, right? And then it gave a hammer, really, really bullish type stuff. And then it gave a little minor pivot here below this kind of bump trend line right here. And then we closed below it on Friday with volume, right? So to me, it is possible it could see, if it breaks below, obviously, Friday's lows, it could push and at least get to this kind of 375 level. But then it's holding the macro, kind of trend here from its recent lows, right? See where that intersects like these levels here? Oh, it's supposed to. There. So it might find support very, very quickly. And just a sideways 1 or 2 days could find this trend line, this trend, and then continue its way up. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. If it breaks down here, right, then we'll start to get concerned and give us a minor pivot there, and then a confirmation bar with volume. Then we'll look to see if we can get back down to the cloud. So good stuff. Dustin, good evening. How are you? Viav, let's take a look. Okay, yeah, big push recently. So, for the most part, what I would do is just kind of short-term wise, kind of keep an eye here, to here, to here, right? So that is kind of the trend that it's been holding, right? So, but short-term, right? It tried to close below this pivot right here and couldn't do it on these two bars. So it seems to be holding up okay, but just kind of mostly watch how it handles this trend line right here, right? JCI. Johnson Controls, there to there. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's still holding trend, right? So just keep an eye on this, see how it holds that trend line there. FCX. Freeport McMoran, let's see, here to there. So that is still holding trend too. It's got a thin cloud as well. So if it continues to hold this, it might work its way up the trend line and get up to that fib fan line that we've been tracking for a while. Oxy. Yeah, I mean, really, really interesting stuff here. I mean, it's been, trying to close over all these minor pivots, right? And it's gotten a few big moves like up to here, and then it came back and it's holding these levels, finding some support in this kind of whole congestion zone right here. So just kind of keep an eye on those levels there, right? And then you got cloud here. So I don't know, possible more chop, but we'll see. SLV. Nice, nice metal potential right here, right? So, starting to work its way up. I'd like to see a bullish close on volume over this high right here. That would be nice. Nice to see. Good stuff. Session, what's going on? FISV inside week. Nice. Yeah, we've been kind of keeping an eye on this one too. So, yep, inside week there. And, right, so kind of sort of working on, whoa, look at that trend line up here. Kind of sort of working on this here. So, it'd be nice to see if it closes with a bullish candle on volume over that 106 level for a potential move. And then, bear flag, yes, very, very possible bear flag here too. Right, so definitely worth keeping an eye on. It's a little, consolidated right there. But then watch, you got the cloud right there as potential support too. Right, NTES. Okay, yeah, we're kind of keeping an eye on this as well. Just watch for a bearish close below these levels, maybe under 265 with some volume, right? RAGN. Oh, RAGN was just such a big mover the other day. It's tough to chase this because the cloud is so close. It is a thin cloud, right? So that is definitely something to to keep an eye on, right? But we have all the way from up here, this 442, to this low, right, and then to here is the level. I don't know why it's pulling that up. Let's see, there, here to the low to here. So here it's saying yes, I am bullish, right? So, and it's a thin cloud too, so it could really push through it. But very, very significant day on Friday for our REGN. PEP. Yeah. As you know, Pepsi and Coke are very, very difficult to chart. But they do sometimes. I mean, here we didn't get any sort of confirmation low here, so this has been choppy, right? So kind of short term wise, here's kind of an inverted bump and run potential, right? So if it closes over here, we could get maybe move a point. Then if it gets over that, we can continue to watch. And bull flag breakdown. Maybe. I mean, it would be an extended bull flag, right? From here to here. So I'll just kind of keep an eye on those trend lines there. So W day outside week, nice. Inside day, sweet. W day. Yeah. Inside day there, good. W day here. Oof. It's got something up there. There. Then you got this one here, right? Look for a closer with a minor pivot here, right? And then it could start to work its way up. I'm going to add this to the list. I like that. We'll keep an eye on this one. I like the distance there. Good. And STZ. This one can definitely be tricky to trade. It can get into this kind of mess right here. Yes, just be careful here with this. Obviously, close below these lows, or it could get back down. So just be careful with that. Yeah, but outside day though on this one for sure. Nice. Seneca, what's going on? ATVI? Yeah, let's take a look. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for your support. Yeah, so ATVI is getting really, really close, right? So it had a couple breakouts right here through this kind of really nasty consolidation zone, and now it's finally giving some moves. So this was the recent move where we started kind of a bump and run type pattern right here. We haven't really had any bearish closes until here, but it still needs to close below this level. But if it gets there, we're right at this trend line. So see how it holds this macro trend line right here. If it holds that, we might see it push a little bit higher. If it breaks down, right, then we'll definitely start to take a look at it because it has some nice gaps below. This has definitely been on our list, so we'll keep an eye on that. Eric, good evening. How are you? Good to see you. Hope everything's well. Steve, what's going on? Looking forward to joining the subscription. Yeah, awesome, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. Let's take a look. Hoo-yeah. Appreciate all your support. Thanks for always tuning in and checking us out on YouTube. It's been great. It's great community. So we have this here. Here's Hoo-yeah. Hoo-yeah is tough to trade, but I tell you, if you had some calls here through this, right, very very much like Baba, right, had this kind of breakout level, and it finally got through that the other day. So again, at this point, we're just kind of keep an eye on it, right, as it continues to. We have this huge fib fan line right here that it got there from way at the highs. So I mean, at this point, right, I mean, this day here, Thursday was a key day, so we might actually be seeing a doji sandwich here on Hoo-yeah, right? So if we have some bullish tweets, about trade talk and all that stuff, this one could actually start to move. This is really nice. I'm gonna put it on the watch list for tomorrow. The game plan for tomorrow. That's a good one. I personally don't like trading Hoo-yeah because the options are really really tricky. But if you're if you're into shares, it could be pretty good. Good. Awesome stuff. MTN. Friday was the first day in a long time that SPY did not track futures and was minus 80 cents at the open when futures were plus 7. Have you noticed this rigging? Was this quad? What do you think? Frustrating. Yeah, MTN, I know. It really is frustrating. That was, it went ex-dividend. Oh, sorry, I put MTN. Sorry. That's one to look at too. Yeah, so it went ex-dividend, right? So it doesn't even tell you here on these charts, but when it goes ex-dividend, right, it pays out its dividends, and usually that affects stock prices negatively. So it definitely messes up the whole thing. Very very annoying, and I apologize that anybody who experienced that. Just annoying. Thomas, what's going on? GDX, let's take a look. Yeah, so GDX is looking good here. I love how it closed over this minor pivot here on volume, right? Even through the cloud. So I mean, this really is looking good. I know futures are up, but they're already down 2 points. And I think we're going to see some volatility this week. And the more volatility we see, I think the more of these miners and gold and all that stuff will do well. So that's the idea there. Albert, what's happening? QCOM, space below, go puts. Yeah. Let's take a look. Go puts. Yeah. So we're starting to see it, right? So this was actually a really good close, and I like how we saw a lot of this in some of the semis and all that stuff. Nvidia, Apple. I mean, just a lot of these, starting to show this kind of setup right here. So here's your minor pivot through the upper trend line. Right, let's kind of zoom out here a little bit. Right, so from here to here, so minor pivot. So it looks like it could, if it pushes below Friday's lows, could push down, give a potential move down to the cloud. So that's definitely worth looking at. Wendy, UVXY. Yep, starting to perk up a little bit there. Here, low. Here, that's your macro. Here, here, here. There. So when as long as it could close over this level right here, this 2610 with volume, right? We might see a push up to that either the cloud or that trend line there. So it's definitely worth looking at. Now. Yep, very bullish. Again, I really, really like this. The only thing that kept me from going long on this one is the cloud right there. Just potential cloud resistance. Price tends to respect that a lot. I don't know if it's algo's plan or whatever the case is. It does tend to respect this, so just be careful with that. But if it does continue, you could get a cloud break, and this thing could really, really rock. Lift. Yep, a close over 49, a bullish close over 49.15 with some volume could get it working its way back up. Snap is really, really close, right? Macro trend line right here, closed just above it, I think. High, right at it. Closed right at the prior high. So a little bit more, 1 penny more, it would have really perked my interest on Friday. But it is still looking bullish. It really does look like it wants to try to get up to 18. And then Tesla. Yep. So Tesla, it has been very interesting, right? It is right. It just put in its first minor pivot there, but it has a lot of support here. So Tesla's been pretty strong, right? This might just be a little bit of a bull flag here, and we might be just at the bottom of it, right? Kind of like if I use one of the closes there. See, very, very possible on Tesla. Nice gap up there too. Good. Thank you, Wendy. Build Mattel, what's going on? Roku, yeah. Let's take a look. Roku, right, with the smashing down move, right? We called out this bear flag on Twitter, last week. A lot of folks are starting to get bullish on this thing because it hit its, mid Bollinger Band or its 20 MA, right? But guys, volatile markets can't rely on that stuff. Can't rely on those MAs, right? They just follow price. So you guys see what price is doing, right? So here after this drop down, I was really happy it did this because it shifted our trend line, right? And now we can start to track this thing, right? So it did fill its earnings gap, right? Like by a few ticks. It does have a little closing gap right there that it could hit, tomorrow if it continues. But again, this is a great one to continue to look at for that turtle soup method, right? So if we gap down below this and we fill this gap, we could see an epic reversal. Not epic, but we could see a reversal even. How many points is that? Like 10 points. Possibly if it gets up to the cloud, right? So we could see a huge reversal on that. So definitely worth keeping an eye on Roku tomorrow, for sure. So let's keep an eye on that. Good. And what else? Crazy. Good. Dustin, what's happening? How do you get the cloud to come on Thinkorswim? All right, so all you do is you go to Studies, and I know you can't see this, but maybe I could show it in the drop-down right here. So let me say Add Studies, and you just go to Ichimoku. It doesn't have cloud in there. It just says Ichimoku, right? So go to your eyes. If you go to All Studies, go to Alphabetical, and go to your eye, right? Just go here and there, Ichimoku. Okay, so just put that in, and then you can kind of customize it. I remove all the spans and everything on it, and I just show the cloud, right? So I don't really need to trade off of that other stuff. Although I've done a video in the past to show some techniques on how to do that. So, Sumit, how's it going? Good to see you. Manoj, what's up? S-Bucks, let's take a look. All right, so S-Bucks, we're going to buy this drip one of these days, right? So we have this downward trend line right here. Let's see if it can consolidate, give us a minor pivot, and then work our way out of the cloud. That's the goal with that one. MSFT, big move up till all-time highs, right? And so let's see here. Where's my... Okay, there's a channel, green channel, right? So big push to all-time highs here. Came back really fast, filled the gap, and then bounced off of that, right? So it's definitely keep an eye on that to see how that if that can get constructive. FedEx, right? Big gap down, nasty day right there. So we'll see how that holds. Good to see you. Yeah, Steve, my pleasure. Sumit, yeah, let's take a look at PayPal. We just looked at Microsoft, so let's look at PayPal. Yeah, so PayPal is kind of sort of working its way, right? So it's in fact here, activate. Yeah, that was low there, so we got to keep it here, right? So it really has to close above these levels. Then we got all this cloud right here. So right now, I mean, I don't know, PayPal, I mean, it almost looks like a megaphone type thing it's working on right here. You know, that type of thing. So it might want to test the low of that area first before coming back up. So let's keep an eye on that. That seems to be probable. Okay, good. Dustin, MGM. Let's see there. Good. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's getting there, right? It just needs to close below this level, right? So with some volume. So 2863, a close below there, right? That could, if that happens in the next couple of days, that could be a nasty down move through the cloud there. Let's we'll keep an eye on this one too. I like that. Add that to the watch list. Good. MTN, wow, thanks. Yeah, how often does it have it? Yeah, pretty much like quarterly, I believe. Yeah, something like that. Whenever it does those dividends. Yeah, I don't know exactly, but usually there's some heads up on it, but it's tough to catch. Guilherme, what's going on? G Trader here. Hey, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Good evening. What do I think of APO? Let's take a look. Thank you so much for all your support. Thanks for tuning in. Let's take a look here. So we have here to here. All right. Yeah, so that's getting really, really close. These can be kind of tricky right here. There's that level. It seems to hold. So here's your minor pivot. Did it close below 40? It did not. So I want to see a bearish close below 40 for a potential reversal on this one. I like this. But if it doesn't, right, it's just kind of in this kind of choppy consolidation period. It might start to continue to work its way back up. Seneca, I wasn't going to ask, but Netflix, if you have time, yeah, let's take a look at Netflix. So Netflix, right, is a macro trend down, right? So this is one of the things we highlighted in the newsletter this weekend, right? So macro trend here, right? And then you can just draw it right here. I'll draw it from scratch here. So you have high, significant high to low. You go to the next pivot point right there that doesn't intersect anything else. So there's your trend, right? And so now, right, we just see what it does. At this point, is a continued trend, right? Was it come up and hit here? If it comes up here, we'll definitely look for some short setups, right? To try to, some of our strategies to do that, right? So, and then we'll look and see if it gaps down. We'll see it's now putting in 20-day lows. So if it puts in a fresh low tomorrow, it might try to reclaim, give us a turtle soup setup on that too. So we'll keep an eye on that too. John, what's going on? Roku? Yeah, always like taking a look at Roku. We did great on this thing all the way up, right? And I had a lot of fun on the way down. So big move on Friday, held these gaps. Let's see if it tags this level right here tomorrow, right? And then starts to reclaim. Might give us a quick move, just not a swing trade, but just a day trade type move on that. So we could see it. All right. Good stuff. Wow, we really plowed through all this stuff tonight. So really appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. Awesome chart requests. Be sure, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, right? We do this every market night, so you can always just tune in, send out some chart requests if you're looking at a chart. Always happy to do that, and we always do something new and fun and educational, all right? That's fun to learn. And then check out all the links in the description. All right, guys, thank you so much for your support, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and let's have a great trading week this week. And remember your risk first, and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And I'll talk to you guys soon.